Oh boy. Has it been a while? But here we are once again. Tech has released me, sent me on this task to cast some replays for you guys. We have PPMI, a somewhat new active player as of recent times, up against Salinator on Ogre Kingdoms. Also another player who's been more active than in quite a while. Salinator left for quite a bit of time, just like a lot of ODM players, and they're back and playing some Ogre Kingdoms on Vermin League. So let's go over that real quick. Let's go over each other's armies. We got Karl, Franz on PPMI with Reichland Runefang, Gal Miraz, Stand Your Ground, and all the good stuff. We also have a staunch line of spears. That's nothing sexier that you can see on an Empire side. We just need some pikemen and we'll get things going. Come on, CA. Any day now. Empire Knights, 2 on each side, presumably. No, it's 2 on one side and 1 on the left, with some Demigryph knights with halberds. Just 2 of those bad boys. And then we got the Hammer of the Witches, Great Cannon ROR, and then we have double Huntsmen, which are going to be fantastic against Ogre Kingdoms. And then presumably we do have a Jade Wizard with Regrowth. Nope, it's going to be Earthblood, actually, presumably because the double Demigryphs, which are, costly. You got to make sure to get your value out of them. For the Ogre Kingdoms, we do have a Slaughter Master of Beasts with Flock of Doom and that extra ingredients. For the rest, it's going to be a staunch line of Noblars. No pigback riders, it seems. Though we do have 1, 2, 3 Thres Loud Belchers. And of course, Ogre Bulls, just like every other Ogre Kingdom build. And then we have some Blood Vultures up in the sky, which should do pretty great against the Empire. And then we have double Mournfang Cav with great weapons, which should do absolutely fantastic into the Empire Knights. Demigryph Knights with halberds, I'm not too sure about that. But we also have double Saber Tusk packs, which can accept which can take the charge for the Mournfang Cav. We'll see though. We'll see if that will be the issue. My cat is in need of attention, and that's why she's squirming. But yeah, the Ogre Kingdoms is going to have to advance because the Great Cannon, Hammer of the Witches, is just going to be nailing away at the Loud Belchers, and the Loud Belchers do not want that, obviously. They're going to try to find a target, and hopefully it'll be of some high value, and they should theoretically do fantastic. 3 may be quite a bit against the Empire, but we'll see how they do. And right off the bat, they're doing fantastic damage to those Spearmen, and the other one is doing great damage to the Huntsman, which is pretty much the only... With only 2 Huntsmen on the field, I am a bit wary of the Empire's chances if they let those Huntsmen go and die so fast. But obviously the Demigryphs can do quite a bit of work too, so we'll see how things go. Karl Franz is looking for some prey to jump down upon. Blood Vultures are going to be escorting those Huntsmen off the battlefield now that they've been obliterated by the Loud Belchers. Empire Knights do get a charge, and the Saber Tusk packs take that charge for the Mournfang Cav, which is going to make that fight go a lot better. But we also have some Demigryph Knights in reserve and some more Empire Knights. Karl Franz has found himself in combat with the Blood Vultures and is going to terror route them with barely even taking any damage at all on those Blood Vultures, which is quite hilarious. They lost 1 model and like maybe 5 to 6% of their HP, and they just said, no more, I'm good, we're out, boss. The Demigryph Knights get a side charge on the Mournfang Cav to do some pretty decent damage on that charge, and honestly it's going pretty decent so far. An Earthblood coming in there on the Empire Knights, and it actually doesn't hit the Demigryph Knights. That's so unfortunate, but some Ogre Bulls are coming to support as well with that Ogre Kingdom fight. We do have a Flock of Doom going down, hitting the Empire Knights, Demigryph Knights, and even, did it hit Empire? No, it did not hit Karl Franz, but it got some good value there. But that does go into the favor of the Empire side. Very good trade there for them. Demigryph Knights almost go for a cheeky little side charge on the Ogre Bulls, but change their mind once the Mournfang Cav are coming in their reposition. And at this point, you might as well have just continued fighting them because you're taking so much damage in the rear from that. But understandably, you want to try to preserve them, so you do what you can. But luckily, their leadership held steady and they didn't rout. But the issue is the Morphine Cav are going to get their charge speed, and not only that, the Lead Butchers are going to get the side shots into them. See? So at this point, I would have probably just stayed in the fight because there was nothing you could probably do there. But in fact, we do have the other Empire Knights coming over to support, which would be great. But I don't think these Demigryph Knights are getting away. Might as well have stayed and done some kind of damage, honestly. The Butcher is doing some nice Last Samurai shots into those Demigryphs and Empire Knights, which is pretty nice. Ogre Bulls are holding back the Empire Knights, but the Demigryph Knights are going to go around and try to hopefully get on top of those Lead Belchers. Empire and Mr. Karl Franz here, the one and true Emperor, is going to jump down here and support the Empire Knights in their honestly downright, wow, I cannot think of words. The fight that's going on against that Mornfang was hopeless. Let's be honest here for the Empire Knights. So the Emperor had to come and save them. I don't know how I just ran out of words there for a moment. My brain, the dictionary in my brain just vanished. The Blood Vultures are finally going to hammer the witches and should swiftly dispatch them, but it's fine because they got 2,040 value, presumably just shooting at Blood Vultures the entire time. Demigryph Knights have got a really, really good fight there with the Blood Vultures. However, they are fairly beaten up, so probably not going to survive too long, especially with those Ogre Bulls joining in the fight. The Wizard has also been caught out by the Saber Tusk pack, so that means no more healing potentially coming in for Karl Franz or the Demigryph Knights if he routes, because it is an infantry unit. So he's holding somewhat steady. His leadership is finally starting to fall. However, the Mornfang Cav take that fight with the Demigryph Knights, who did get the army ability from the Ogre Kingdoms on them to slow them down, dismember. So they weren't able to run away even if they tried to, and Mornfang Cav are going to absolutely finish them off easily. These Iron Fists are going to proceed to make their way over to support the rest of this engagement. Somehow, the freaking Jade Wizard is still holding steady in this fight. It's crazy. I seriously hate sometimes infantry casters who are able to take so much damage. Literally surrounded by a pack of saber tusk creatures gnawing at your flesh, and the Jade Wizard is just like, nah, I'm good. I'll be all right. They'll knock me down, so I'll barely take any damage. It's all right. Empire Knights are going to rear charge these Lead Belchers, try to finish them off potentially, or just continue escorting them, making sure that they don't come back. But with all these Ogre Bulls and Nobblers coming in, making their way over to try to intercept them, they're going to decide better and go for the Lead Belchers, other Lead Belchers instead, which are currently still shooting. Dismember going down on the Empire Knights. These Dismember uses are pretty good, actually, so far. And considering they don't need to save up for the 3rd tier army ability to heal up anything, aside from their Mornfang Cavs, it's a pretty good use using on the Dismember, and now they actually do catch up to Empire Knights because of it. Balance of power looks to be a bit in the favor of Ogre Kingdoms, and I'm inclined to agree. The only thing we have really is Karl Franz, and I don't think he's quite enough to handle all of this, though I do believe in my Emperor. We are going to speed things up a little bit here. Unfortunately, I lost my previous mouse, or my previous mouse pretty much has broken. Sort of. I can't afford to fix it for various reasons. And now I don't have the handy-dandy mouse buttons to speed things up quicker. Either way, these spearmen get routed off by Nobblers and some Ogre Bulls slamming their massive clubs into the sullen faces of the Empire peasants. But that's fine, because the Empire Knights and Karl Franz are going to try to make up for those spearmen, try to win back some form of glory in the name of the Empire. And Karl Franz is doing such a thing, terror-routing the Slaughter Master, absolutely tearing him apart, not missing a single attack any of these instances. That's crazy. When is my Karl Franz going to do this? Buddy is absolutely not missing. I say that, and he does end up missing one, but he's finally going for another one, and he takes another bite. Deathclaw is ripping this Slaughter Master to shreds, and that might just be enough to turn this back into the Empire's favor. And it seems that the balance of power is thinking starting to agree with me as well, because now that the Slaughter Master is terrified, shattered off the map, you know what's going to happen is it's going to be super easy to go around terrorizing each and every single one of these separate pieces which are off away from the Mornfang Cav. All these guys need to regroup right away. I mean, yeah, I understand when they kill the Jade Wizard, but you can just use one of these Saber-Tooth pack just to chase it off. The rest of these guys need to freaking regroup. This is so bad. Karl Franz is going to be start terrorizing everything. To be fair, Ogre Bulls do have some decent leadership here. They have base value of 60, but the Blood Roar is making things very difficult for them, and obviously damage as well. There's some Ogre Bulls charging in. And every time these Ogre Bulls charge in, we are getting some army ability generated at the very least. That's very nice. Can Karl Franz clutches? Can freaking Karl Franz clutches? I'm not entirely sure, but I believe in my Emperor, and I do not believe in the Maw, but I think the Maw is stronger than the Emperor at this one instant. Maybe, yep. The Maw, as strongly as I believe in the Emperor, the Maw just reels me back in. Beautiful. Sorry, Karl Franz, but the Ogres, the strength of the gut, takes the win today. EPMI did pretty well, repping the Emperor in this fight. Very good fighter against the Ogre Kingdoms. Much better than Boris, in my opinion, for this fight. He did pretty solid at 1600. Not as great a value. Probably needed to support the Cav engagements a little bit more. And also the Huntsmen were kind of should have been held back. I know the Lead Butchers are an issue, but maybe hanging them out on the sides of the Cav and shooting at the shooting to support the Cav would be a bit of a better choice instead of just in the center where they can be obliterated by Lead Belchers. But the Hammer of the Witches did fantastic. Surprise Alienator didn't shut it down quicker, but he had his hands full. The Lead Belchers could have probably jumped on it a lot quicker, as considering the Cav of the Empire were busy with the Mornfang Cav. But pretty solid all around there. PPMI, very good job. Salinator is not an easy opponent even after coming out of his retirement. Though I don't see him play Ogre Kingdoms very much, more of a Vampire Counts player. But Ogre Kingdoms, relatively easy to pick up, and especially in the hands of a solid player like Sal. 434 on this one didn't do that great. Probably, I presume, it's the one who got side charged by the Demigryph Knights. And the other one, 1384, did much better. But yeah, overall, the Lead Belchers are very oppressive, and the Ogre Bulls, all that gold mass, was just a little bit too much for the Empire. Their weak little state, their little state troopers and their thin spears. GG's to both players. Catch you guys later.